All right, test, test, test. Hey, welcome to another live stream by Virtual Flight Diaries. All right, so I know yesterday I did say that we were going to do some 777 ops, and that I was maybe going to wait and see about getting this plane, but yeah, I changed my mind. So I like business jets, and we're going to check this one out. So this is my first LivToAir aircraft. I did not get the uh, electric one that was dropped for 2020, so I just wasn't interested in that plane. But this one's pretty decent looking. So let's check out the outside. Let's do a little walk around. So I mean, these are default liveries, so I mean they're not as clean. And you have to keep in mind what this whole thing is that it's 26 euros. So it's pretty, I want to say, on the low end. It's not going to be study level. I mean, it looks decent. Hey, when you get really close, but I mean, that is a dirty wing. They'll come around. No chocks, which is weird. We do have some 2024 items. We can check our ailerons. Can't check our flaps. Kind of dig this zebra livery. It looks pretty good. Not a step. So none of these panels open up. I would imagine that's the waste dump for the toilet. The rear cargo hatch. We can manipulate these doors externally in 2024. I have no idea what you can do in 2020. Unfortunately, I don't have 2020 anymore, so I can't test it out for you guys. It does have the 2024 thing where you open the door and you go right inside. Now we'll stow our luggage and get off to Key West. There's some pretty cool things with the cabin, and we're going to check that out in cruise. So we're on Say Intentions for ATC because if anyone knows me, I'm a strong proponent of if you are not familiar with your aircraft, then you if you're not familiar with your aircraft, then you shouldn't fly on network just because it could cause some problems. You're not be able to execute what ATC asks you to do, and you got issues. So since this is my first flight, I only took off in this plane just to do the thumbnails for the live stream. I did not legitimately fly this yet, so this is a first look live stream, and we're gonna check it out together, like as if you bought this thing. So just bought it. So let's uh, let's power this up. So we'll put dispatch on. That should give us some battery power. I'll operate the. That's pretty cool. I haven't done that. I've turned the battery on and it automatically lights up. So all right. So SimBrief, we'll load our SimBrief flight plan in here. We're going Sanford, Orlando to Key West. We're going to be cruising at 30,000 feet, and it's probably about an hour in flight. So plenty of time to go check out the cabin, which has some pretty interesting Easter eggs. Tablet's actually nice. It's nice and clean. It's not too cluttered up. So I'll put our destination in. All right, so we got the plane. So let's get connected to ground power. And all the passengers are on board, and we will close up the main cabin. What's pretty cool with this is we can actually load the plane via the tablet, which I like. It's convenient. So we'll load that up from SimBrief. So we're taking on 3 passengers and 1 crew, which is me. So everyone else is on board. And then you can hit set weights and it loads it all in and you're ready to go. You can see now that we're on ground power, everything else is lit up. So we're going to run the checklists because, like I said, I'm not that familiar with this plane. So run it from this side. Normal cockpit procedures. All circuit breakers are in. They're not modeled. Fuel transfer switches are off. That's here. That's in the off position. Left to right fuel boost switches are to norm. Anti-ice is off. Windshields are off. That's this switch here. Bleed air valves to manual. Parking brake is set. Throttles are in the off position. Standby flight instruments test then on. Standby flights test and on. Battery emergency and then on. Landing gear down 3 green. There we go. That one is done. Check all off and on to the next one. So before starting the engine, parking brake is set. Wheel chocks have been removed, although non-existent. Door is closed and locked. Engine instruments are green. CAS messages are checked. Firewall shut off, one left and right. Emergency lights not armed. Could do that real quick. Where are the emergency lights? Oh, that's up here. They're armed. Dispatch off. Battery voltage 24. That is good. Got 25 on the main and 28 on the auxiliary. And air conditioners are off. That checks. And then for engine start. So engine start in this thing is really simple. And by the way, if you're familiar with the default G3000, that is what's in here. So if you've flown the TBM or any of the other default planes that have this in here, you're going to be very familiar with how this works. All right, so we're going to go hit the starter. Once we get 10, we're going to click out the thing. We'll check out the sound from here. That's a frame gen issue. Make sure I kicked it out. The sounds are okay. I mean, this is, you know, like I said, it's only 26 euros, so. All right, so I'm going to start engine 1 inside the cockpit so you can see the procedure of it. It's a good start on 2, starting engine 1. So we're just waiting for the rise. Once we're above 10, we can kick that throttle out of cutoff. And we can disconnect the ground power. Reset gens on. Click all. That checklist is done. So before taxi, exterior lights as required. Yeah, we'll turn on the taxi light. I don't see a beacon or anything like that. Turn the passenger safety lights on. Advisory, air source as required. So we'll just get some fresh air coming into the cabin. Air conditioning as required. I don't know how to set the air conditioning. I don't think it's modeled. There's some things that aren't modeled, which, you know, takes away a little bit, but it's not terrible so far. Electronic elevators, check and set. Trim. All right. So we'll test the trim. And set that. That's good. Flaps. So we'll bring it down to ground. And we're making sure that the spoilers have deployed. So one thing you want to know or want to remember with this plane that I've discovered so far is that you do not want to go full flaps on approach. These are your landing flaps right here, 35 degrees. These are ground flaps. They're for ground use only. So what it does is it puts it at the wing flaps out to 55 degrees and makes an aerodynamic brake. So they're used to stop once you've landed. So what I've done is I've actually bind my reverse thrust positions to dump out the flaps to full and deploy the speed brake on the touchdown. So, all right. Yeah, but do not put these out in landing. It'd be as if you drop the spoilers. It would just, you'd crash, or you'd have to come in with so much power that it's kind of pointless. All right. That checklist is complete. And we got the before taxi checklist. So let's get the ATIS and let's get the clearances and let's get out of here.
Niform 1953 Zulu. Wind 360 at 5. Visibility 10. Sky conditions, scattered at 4900 feet. Broken at 6500 feet. Broken at 9000 feet. Temperature 33. Dew point 21. Altimeter 29905. Density altitude 2100 feet. Arriving and departing runways 27 right.
All right, so we got our clearance. Sanford clearance. Citation 60 Uniform Sierra. Request our IFR to Key West.
I'll have your clearance in just a second.
Clearance.
All right, so we're going to get our flight plan in.
Clearance to New Smyrna Beach. Echo Victor Bravo.
So right here, you can load them in, import that flight plan right in there.
60 Uniform Sierra, cleared to Key West. Radar vectors D-Dan E. Then as filed. Climb and maintain 4,000. Expect flight level 30010 minutes after departure. Departure on 119.775, squawk 1744. Expect runway 18.
Clear to Key West, vectors to Danny, and then his file, climb and maintain 4000, expect flight level 300, 10 minutes after. Departure on 119.775, squawk 1744, and we'll plan for runway 18. Citation 60, Uniform Sierra.
Uniform Sierra, read back correct.
All right, so we got 1744 is our squawk. And we'll put that on. And we'll set the heading to our takeoff. We're going runway 18, so that'll be 18. All right, so we got our flight plan in, so we're going to go back. Look at the procedures. We got the approach. So we're doing the RNAV 9 approach into Key West Vanes transition. I'm going to load that up. And then we're going to do initialization. So we got weight and balance. It's just me for the crew. We got payload. We got 3 passengers. And a cargo. It just started to rain. 220 pounds in a cargo. Take off, we'll sink the fuel. That's good. Landing, we got a reserve 30 minutes. Okay. Flight plan. We'll use the Simbri flight plan.
Skylane 9er, 4527 Orlando Sanford ground taxi to Terminal Apron at your discretion. Good day.
Scout data, we're going runway 18. Weather, we'll use the outside temperature, load the METARs. Climb, or I mean takeoff. That's right, we'll do a takeoff 15. It's a little loud for me. And then a takeoff data, so we got a V1 of 95, VR of 100. We'll accept that. Now we get the flight plan to load. Okay, there we go, initialization. So we go back to procedures, approach, because that cleared that out. And we'll load that. Our initial climb is 4,000, that's set. Let's get the, set the magic barrow. That looks good. Oh, taxi checklist, brake, nose, wheel, steering check. Park and brake off. Wow, that just went to crap. Yeah, parking brakes. So it looks like there's a little bug here that these lights are flashing. That's good. That checklist is done. And before takeoff checklist to go. What is the ground frequency? 121.35. Yeah, we are on ground. Okay. Time for ground. Citation 60 Uniform Sierra. We're ready to go, ready for taxi.
Uniform Sierra, taxi to runway 18 via Kilo, Charlie, Romeo, cross runway 27 center, then cross runway 27 right at your discretion.
Runway 18 via Kilo, Charlie, Romeo, cross runway 27 center, and then cross runway 27 right at my discretion. 60 Uniform Sierra. All right, looks like we're ready to go. I don't see any. All right, so pitot heats can come on. Actually, like any collision lights. So we just got strobes on this thing. Okay. I mean, that's not the first airplane that just have strobes. I think the Vision Jet just has strobes. All right, so I had some pretty cool scenery for Sanford, but unfortunately, it wasn't working very well. I was getting some pretty bad stutters. So rather than try to deal with that, I just dumped the scenery. I do have scenery for Key West. It's the Orbix one. It seems to work. So when we get down to Key West, we'll play with the lighting. So there's some pretty cool lighting in here. I heard some kind of disco mode. I mean, visually, you can see the panels pretty well. You do have some issues here, you know, but that's typical of the default. You know, the default, you know, the G1000, G3000, G5000, they all have these visual issues. Or I could just be old. I don't know.
Ground. Stationair November 1914, Quebec. Is that General Aviation Parking? Ready for taxi.
Stationair 14 Quebec, contact Sanford ground on 121.35 for taxi.
So ground handling is pretty good. Nose wheel steering via the rudder. Look, Ma, no hands.
Say again your request.
So it uses the typical, you know, rudder pedals, differential braking. The wind wing profile or the MobiFlight profile for generic G1000s works pretty well with this for autopilot. Put the flight director on. That was the speed brake or the parking brake. Okay. I was just hoping that there was a yaw dampener. All right, runway 27 center. We are clear left, clear right, cleared to cross.
November.
There we go. Coming up on 27 left.
Bravo, requesting BFR to North Perry Airport.
Give me 1 second for that clearance.
Little stutter there. All right, so we got 27 right, so we are clear left, clear right, cleared to cross. Florida rain shower. All right, here's our runway. We'll bring it to a stop. All right, air source to both for flight. And we'll get the landing lights on. Any collision lights can come on. Good, pitot heats are on. I'll put the windshield to low. This is your anti-ice panel, so just to keep it from fogging up. Flight directors are on. Alright, so let's try to air source both takeoff flaps. Flaps 15 for takeoff. Takeoff trim is set. Pitot static switches are on. Anti-collision light switches on and landing lights are on. Checklist complete. Alright, so tower. Sanford Tower, citation 60 Uniform Sierra. Holding short runway 18, ready to go.
Citation 60 Uniform Sierra, Sanford Tower, runway 18, winds 360 at 5, fly runway heading, cleared for takeoff. Duke 8.
Clear for takeoff, runway 18, fly runway heading 60 Uniform Sierra.
Contact departure, Duke 8, leaving.
Alright guys.
Sanford Tower, Skyhawk 60, go Papa.
Hopefully the weather's better down in Key West.
9er right. Request touch and go. Sanford Tower, Skyhawk 60, go Papa.
Alright, ready to go. Flaps 15. Yes, just double check that. Yep. Alright. Spool them up. Toga. There's if we rotate. Oh. I pulled up too hard. All right, pause the rake. Gear up. Get back on our runway heading.
Sierra, contact departure.
All right, climb power. Autopilot on, yaw dampener can come on. Heading. Flight level change. Alright, so contact departure. Orlando departure. Citation 60 Uniform Sierra, climbing through 3000 for 4000.
Uniform Sierra, climb and maintain flight level 210.
Good morning, Transit 81, request fire clearance to Montreal.
Climb and maintain flight level 210. 60 Uniform Sierra.
Transat 821, request fire clearance to Montreal.
Stand by.
I'll put climb power back in. So no auto throttle. Turn left 120. That. It looks really good. The stall warning on takeoff was my issue. I pulled back too hard on the stick. Just nice gentle movement would have worked just fine. I don't know why I yanked back. Look at that. So you have Navigraph, which is pretty cool. Got your charts. You have this cool map that I really dig it. We'll do a little cruise climb here, about 200 knots. I mean, that puts us about 3,000 feet per minute, which is fine. You can go max climb. Everyone's been, oh, this thing's a rocket ship. Climb and maintain flight level 250. 60 Uniform Sierra. So everyone's saying that this, this is a rocket ship, and it is. So if I was to actually put this in max climb, which isn't a normal, I don't believe it's a normal operation for a plane. I mean, I'm not a CRJ pilot or a CJ pilot, but so which is max climb is 165 on the flight level change, which will put us about 5,000, 6,000 feet per minute. Yeah, so it can climb like a rocket, but why would you want to subject your charter to that kind of G-force? So nice, gentle cruise climb. I mean, we could set at the actual cruise climb of 220 knots, which then puts us about like just under what we're doing now. But I like this setting. This is nice. I would imagine that pilots have their own preferences. That's a nice, gentle 2,000 feet per minute. We got climb power in. So far it flies pretty nice. I'm actually kind of digging it. We'll see on landing. But yeah, so far so good. So we'll climb up to cruise, which is flight level 300, and then we'll go check out the cabin, check out the Easter eggs that LivToAir has installed. So if you like, and I tell you what, if you like cabins and cabin layouts and stuff like that, this one's going to be for you. I'm neither here nor there on cabins, but I know that there are some people that enjoy them.
60 Uniform Sierra, climb and maintain flight level 290.
I maintain flight level 290, 60 Uniform Sierra. Orlando departure 60 Uniform Sierra. Can we get direct to Danny? I don't think it's to Danny. I think it's Danny.
60 Uniform Sierra, turn right heading 140 for vectors to Danny.
Yeah, we're going direct. These are probably vectors for non-existent traffic because I have traffic injection turned off because I'm not allowed to stream it. All the partners had to sign NDAs.
United 1896, expect a visual approach for runway 17 left. Contact Orlando Tower on 118.45 for landing clearance.
What was the frequency?
Let's sync up our engines a little better. A little better airmanship there. Yeah, I imagine that's a bug, the flashing. So you can overlay your Navigraph maps.
60 Uniform Sierra, climb and maintain flight level 300.
I maintain flight level 300, 6 uniforms, or 0 Uniform Sierra. Alright, so let's just clean up some of our checklists here. Landing gears up, flaps up, any ice as required, passengers as required, we can get them walking around. Pressurization check, cabin looks good. And set standard at transition altitude. So a good rule of thumb is you don't want to set standard prior to that, even though you've been cleared above, because what happens if ATC goes, hey, level off at 17.5 for traffic avoidance? Well, you'll be not at 17.5 if you change this. And there's a cruise checklist. But that's pretty simplified. We'll clear that out and then descent to go. Alright, there's passing in flight level 180, so we'll set standard. Standard set. Passing flight level 182 now. All right, so we're cleared all the way up. So let's just show you what max
descending
max climb looks like.
Allegiant 3060, Orlando approach. Good evening.
We're in the climb detent.
3000.
Altimeter 3000.
So yes, it is a rocket ship. If you wanted it to be.
3000, turn right, heading 265.
I didn't put the flaps up. Thought I did. So, she will climb fast. Alright, we're above 10,000, so landing lights could go off. That all looks good. Got plenty of fuel for this trip. So we got an hour en route and an hour and a half of fuel at this, but we're at climb power, so that's all going to change.
Contact Miami Center on 128.65.
Bank angle check. Yeah, we're going to cruise out down the coast. If you haven't already, Steve-O Knievo posted a video. He flew this down to the Dominican, I think it was. If you haven't followed him, he's pretty cool. He's got, you know, some TBM stuff. He's been doing some other flight stuff since he used to fly a TBM A50. It was 851 Tango Bravo, I believe. November 851 Tango Bravo. Anyway, he posts a lot of aviation stuff. I've been following his channel for a good long time. Learned a lot about flying a TBM from him. Alright, so we're just going to monitor this because there's no auto throttle, so I don't want to just say, hey, let's go check out the cabin yet.
Space Launch Landing Center.
Because we have to set our cruise power.
Clear for the option. Make left traffic. Runway 15. TBM 2 Charlie Papa.
There's altitude capture. So this does have VNAV, which I didn't engage on the way up because we had no constraints or necessary need for it. But we're going to test it out in descent. See how that works. All right, I'm going to leave it in a climb detent for a minute as we climb up to our cruise speed. I'll engage VNAV, VALT 3, flight level 300. It looks like we got a tailwind, but a pretty significant crosswind, though, which is probably why we're pretty canted along the path. All right, so once we get up to our cruise speed, I'm going to probably bring it back to 88 on the N1s just to see where we're at with that, and maybe it'll settle in at 88 and we can leave it there. Oh, it's a good starting point. I don't have any figures before flying this. Alright, we'll power back to 88%.
60 Uniform Sierra. Contact Miami Center on 128.65.
And we'll try to sync it up as best we can. A little too much. Pop it back. Alright, 88.5. That actually looks pretty stable. So it does have a trend monitor.
Right heading 290, Bonanza 956.
Alright, there we go.
Bonanza 956, turn right heading 290.
Alright, let's check out this cabin.
Altitude 2000 till established. Cleared for runway 9.
Turn this down for you guys.
Heading 155. Descend and maintain 2000 till established. Cleared for the ILS 9 left. Bonanza 956.
So the texturing in the cabin is kind of low vis. Looks a little better than P3D. So I don't know why they did it that way. Maybe for performance. I don't know, but there's some cool things in here. First, we'll start off with the coffee maker. Get a cup of coffee, anyone? I know I could use one. Let's put the tray tables out.
Expect the Fantasy 1 arrival. Anticipate descent in about 20 minutes. Reach out if you want an early start.
We'll expect Fantasy 1 and we'll plan for a descent in about 20 minutes. 60 Uniform Sierra. So let's want some coffee? Would you like a cup of coffee too? It's pretty cool. Got first aid kit in this drawer. That's why we got some energy drinks, I imagine. Why else would they be called poison? Got snacks here. Who wants some cookies? I got some cookies. Some chips. Some Chinese food, burgers. What's pretty cool is we'll contact Miami Center 135.760 Uniform Sierra. ATC's just not letting me do things. Miami Center 60 Uniform Sierra, flight level 300. So we got snacks. So here's the cool thing with the snacks. All right, so we got burgers. You can eat the burgers. Has some good burgers. It's a little disturbing with the burp, but okay. We'll drink some coffee. We can eat that Chinese food. You eat up all the snacks, right? Be pretty cool is if you could actually get like a cup of coffee up in the cockpit. I wonder if close these up. will they put the coffee up in the cockpit? Nope. That's a shame. Otherwise, I'd have to leave the cockpit to get my coffee. So we got that going, and then there's different things. You can put the breasts. I don't think the seats move or recline. Yeah, no. But we got one more here. Got a working toilet. That's not how an airplane toilet sounds. That is how a household toilet sounds. But it does have a flushable toilet. That seems to be the going trend these days with people flushable toilets. Oh, they do have Darth Vader bauble.
I am the Father.
And how to fly a plane. It does open up. If you have a tray table open, it opens up to don't crash and use the autopilot. I'll show you that real quick. That is pretty cool. Which I don't care about as long as it didn't mess with frames, which it hasn't. Otherwise, I don't need it. But, well, let's see. It's all this carbon fiber. Pretty cool stuff. Got our window shades. So, like I said, we'll check out the cabin lighting when we get to Key West. But if you see this video, LivToAir, coffee up in the cockpit, man. That's where it needs to be. How do we put these back? There we go. So cockpit runs. I mean, you see, it's flying. It's tracking the nav, pretty good, like Okeechobee. So no complaints there. I mean, I can't judge on the flight model. I'm not a pilot, so all I can do is judge it on how it feels to fly in the sim. And it seems pretty good. It's not twitchy. Autopilot works fine. You know, sounds are okay. I mean, I'm not gonna say, hey, these are the greatest sounds I've ever heard, but they're not bad. They seem a little default. Got 29 more minutes left in the flight. And 10 minutes to our top of descent. Say, Travis Charles, safe travels. Have a great flight. Hey, thanks. Thanks for checking in. Oh yeah, we're having some fun up here at flight level 300. So like I said, circuit breakers aren't modeled. I don't know what we got here. Yeah, the oxygen panel is not modeled. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not expecting greatness for 26 euros. So I mean, so far it's better than a default plane. Let's just put it at that right now. It's better than a default plane. And yeah, the livery. So it's a default livery, guys. So just to play devil's advocate, it's a default livery here. You got the livery creators on Flight Sim TO that are probably going to make some very clean, crisp liveries for this thing that we're all going to like. I mean, it's you have to get up close. Like, look at when we're on the ground, right up against it to see some differences. But from a distance, it's not too bad. Little flicker here. That's the no step sign. That flicker here is a shadow anomaly that I've been getting since I've, with using FrameGen. So, I'll give my final opinion when I land this thing. I got G's up. We'll see how it does. I heard it's slippery. Hard to slow down. But then it likes to get too slow, so is anyone thinking of getting this? I mean, the cabin's functional. It's just default though. That's all. There's no customization in it. Which I get why they did that. They wanted to program your own G3000 probably would have added months to this. So to release this when they wanted to, let's just go default. So we'll just model the cockpit and we'll plug in the code for the default 3000. Plus everybody will be familiar with it because, they've been flying the default TBMs and the other aircraft that have this 3000 in it, and it'll make it easier to learn. So I get it. So far, though, it's been fun to fly. So oh, it's another thing I didn't show you guys in the cabin. The sunshades do work. You just have to come back here to operate them, though. You can't operate the sunshades from from the cockpit. So you can't simulate everybody requesting, you requesting everybody keep their sunshades open for departure and landing. I really do. I get the GoPro look. I mean, I really do dig the plane. We don't have enough business jets in this simulator. So we got what, the default CJ4, the Cessna Longitude, got the Fly Somewhere Lear 35, which is not easy to learn. And if you're not paying, and it's hard to stream. If you're not paying attention, you'll see on yesterday's stream, it gets away from you. I think that's it. I mean, as jet wise, I mean, you got the default 350s for the turboprop, commercials, the charter service, or the corporate service. You got the Flight Effects P180, which is really good, and it's not necessarily hard to learn either. It's not study level or high fidelity. I don't know if there's any study level real aircraft in the sim. Yeah, that's it. So until Flight Effects launches its C750, we're at a loss for business jets. So this is going to fill a nice little hole there. So there's the southern tip of Florida. That looks good. The weather seems clear.
66585.
$10 miles visibility, clear. 29906. All good. So you just got your flight plan, all your waypoints up. But I don't know. There's something about this one. I like it. And if you do have Navigraph, you can overlay your Navigraph chart on here. We'll keep that up. But I'm not getting any frame hits. So it's fairly optimized. All right, so we're going to start down in 2 minutes. So let's see how VNav goes. So let's look here. What's our crossing? So you sell at 8,000. So let's set 8,000 in. In the autopilot or the altitude window, and we'll see if it automatically starts down, as it should. So VPath is armed because we dropped the altitude. We should see a vertical profile window pop up. Let's see how it handles. There we go. Okay, so vertical profile popped up. That's yep, that happens at 1 minute out. So probably if the default VNav works in the sim, then this is probably going to be the same thing. Miami Center, citation is 60 Uniform Sierra. We're good to start down at any time.
Miami Center, November 4, go flight.
Citation 60 Uniform Sierra, Miami Center, good evening.
Yeah, Miami Center, 60 Uniform Sierra. We're at our top of descent. We can start down. All right, so that
60 Uniform Sierra, say requested altitude.
just started our descent.
60 Uniform Sierra, descend via Fantasy 1 into Key West.
So I don't know what a good setting would be for our descent. So I'm just going to bring it back to 40. See how that looks. I like that. Slow. We'll slowly come down on the speed. All right, so let's look at approach. So we're at RNAV runway 9. And we're transitioning via vaned. So we got 3,000 at vaned and 1,500 at Antna and Bisbee. Okay. Just checking we were turning there. So 253 is our minimums. So let's set that up. 253. Type too fast there. 253. Enter. Minimums, barometric minimums, 253. Okay. And we'll get our landing. The perf speed bugs, landing all on. I don't need VAP. So 125 for VREF. That'll give us a reference speed. So we'll come in at about 130. Which is really no faster than a King Air. Alright, descent checklist. Any ice is required. Throttles is required. Altimeter set to transition at transition level. And landing data VNF's V speeds confirmed. That checklist is complete. And we got approach checklist. So minimum set. Yep, we have the minimum set. Passenger safety on. For descent, fuel transfer is off. We didn't need to balance any fuel, so got anti-ice is required, and then landing lights will come on at 10,000. And we'll clear all that. And the before landing checklist, which is gear flaps, pressurization check different, 0. Autopilot, yacht dampener off, and airspeed at VREF. Okay. So we're on profile. So our flight plan, so at behave, will activate the approach. We should be around 4,000 at behave. Yeah, we'll just leave that up so we can reference it. So we should be able to arm the approach. This probably does it should do a coupled RNAV, so we'll test that out as well. I do like flying down here in Florida. It's actually one of my favorite places to fly in the U.S. Considering I'm from the Northeast of the U.S. Excuse me. We don't have those stunning visuals that Florida does. Can't wait to see what liveries the livery guys do. Alright, so there is 18,000 in transition. We'll set... Oh, pardon me, I'm sorry. So we'll set, I guess 29902 is, what is 99906? Oh, it's not 29902, 29907. Duh, I can't see. Getting old. Do have charts here. Let's see how we set that up.
Uniform Sierra. Contact Navy Key West approach on 124.025.
Yeah, we could put that there. And I could put the cool map up. There we are, completely surrounded by situational awareness. Power back just a little bit. Because I saw that it was a little slippery. I don't want to I have to keep throwing the speed brake out, so we will if we have to, I guess. I don't know how to change the flight ID. It's supposed to be, 60 Uniform Sierra, but so far it's keeping us on path. Let's see if we reach our cutoff at Gazelle.
60 Uniform Sierra. Contact Miami Oceanic approach on 123.8.
Let's see, so the crossing here is 12,480, 431. Let's see if it hits it. It did. Oh, generic VNAV is working. Who's texting me? All right. So 8,000. So let's see if it hits our solid mark. Because we didn't have to be at 12,430 at that crossing. So Gazelle's next. We got to be at 8,000 at Gazelle. All right, still coming down. So we're just concentrating on VNAV here just to see how that works. See how solid it would be at for VATSIM. I don't know, crew. I think we're gonna make it. The VNAV descent on this thing's pretty solid.
60 Uniform Sierra. Contact Miami Oceanic approach on 123.8.
Miami Oceanic approach on 123.8. 60 Uniform Sierra. Miami Oceanic approach, citation 60 Uniform Sierra, passing 8,400 for 8,000.
Citation 60 Uniform Sierra, Miami. Oceanic approach, good evening, Key West. Altimeter 29.94. Expect the RNAV runway 9er approach into Key West via Vanity.
Altimeter 2994. We'll expect the RNAV runway 9 approach via Vanity. 60 Uniform Sierra. All right, just got to power up because we're leveled off here. Actually, put 4,000 in. Minutes to our next descent mark. Actually, we're supposed to be at vanity at 3,000, so we're going to put 3,000 in. It's not very hard to maintain the speeds. It doesn't like really run away from you, which is good. What settings we have here? BF bearing. Guess I just broke it. Oh no, okay, there we go. Synthetic terrain. Horizon heading. That's what that is. Okay. Just typical G3000 stuff. Alright, so we're coming in our next stop of descent. VNAV path has actualized or initialized. We should start down. Power back a little bit. So we start to descend. Coming down the keys. Looking good. So everything else, so it's pretty simple. It's all default. Oh.
Uniform Sierra, descend and maintain 1500.
Oh, 1,500 feet. Descend and maintain at 1500. 60 Uniform Sierra. I don't know. It's 1500, not 1500. See, these are the phraseologies that are a little off that I was talking about yesterday. It would say, descend and maintain 1500. That's 1500. I mean, they could do that. They just forgot the 1500. We're getting a little fast. It's really just putting us on a long downwind for runway 9. can't see my settings. There we go. That looks cool. All right, so when we pass behave, we'll activate the approach. Got to turn the landing lights on. Didn't it look like the landing lights were on already? Oh, they weren't. Okay. It's good solid click sound. Kind of chunky. I don't know if that's how it really sounds in the cockpit. Alright, there's pass and behave. We'll activate the approach.
60 Uniform Sierra, direct Vannet. Cleared for the RNAV runway 9 approach.
Okay. Come on. Ah. Are you serious? I just crashed? Okay. Alright, well, the sim just crashed. Alright, guys. Well, sorry about that. I don't know what caused that. I'll have to check that out. If it's the plane, it's, to coin a phrase, dead to me. Oh, that's horrible. I haven't had that happen in a long time. Alright, guys. Well, like I said, I'm sorry about that. But, you know, we're not going to restart the stream. Alright, well, thanks everyone for watching so far. And I appreciate it. Hopefully you can still hear me. But yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna be it. Well, thanks for watching. We'll look at more planes and different other stuff. So, you know, like, subscribe to the channel. I'm Virtual Flight Diaries. My name is John. See ya.